watching these videos and don't know anything about them is because, as you rightly said, they're getting precious little attention. No attention that we could find in the New York Times or the Washington Post or the network evening newscasts. And I think, Bill, I think there's a reason for this, and it's not a journalistic reason. Let's imagine that what we're seeing here is white people attacking, white kids attacking black people. That in cities like St. Louis and Washington and Milwaukee and Hoboken, New Jersey, and Syracuse, New York, and other cities, young white kids got together and said, let's start this game. You know, we'll call it the knockout. And they go around, and some black guy is coming home from work, and out of the blue, they just hit him in the face as hard as they can, and he goes down. And then their idiotic white friends giggle about it like a bunch of hyenas, and then they post it on the internet. That would obviously be a national news story because it's orchestrated racial violence. But this isn't.
It would also be a federal crime, okay, because it would be a bias crime. Now, this is a bias crime, too, but I want to be careful here because I don't know how pervasive it is, and I don't know if it's all young black men targeting white people. Is it all young black men targeting white people, or is there
the best we could figure on the one end, on the attacker end, everything we've seen are young black men. Now, there may be that one of the women who got knocked down in the video that you showed, one of the people, that may have been a woman, I can't tell, and it may have been a black woman. That's possible. But generally speaking, it's black young men attacking white people. As a matter of fact, Bill, in some places they have another name for it. It's polar bear hunting. Polar bear because polar bears are white, you know? And since this is not a journalistic decision, because obviously this is a legitimate news story, obviously, this is a white liberal paternalistic decision. The white liberals in the media at places that aren't covering this are saying, you know what? We don't want to give any ammo to those white racist conservatives out there because they equate conservatism with racism anyway. So let's just make believe this isn't happening. How despicable, how disgraceful to make believe something that has spread from one city to another isn't a legitimate news story. And most, to pick up on what you rightly said, most black kids aren't doing this. I hope that's obvious to everybody. Most black kids don't do this. But a disproportionate number are either doing that or are walking into stores and hauling entire racks of clothing out onto the street. This is like Lord of the Flies. This is crazy stuff. And the black establishment, the civil rights establishment, has been predictably silent.
Yeah, they're not going to go in for that. It is a troubling situation, and it all goes back to an alienation of young black men in this country for a number of reasons, but primarily because they're angry they didn't have a family and their father abandoned them and all of that. I mean, that's where it goes back to. And so they're acting out on the street. They're sold a bill of goods by the civil rights people that white society is the fault. Because you're unhappy, it's the whites doing it to you, and so they're whacking whites. But with the internet and the notoriety, this thing can really get out of control. I'll give you the last word.
That's right. On the fatherless part, you and I have been two of the few people that are constantly talking about this. I don't know any of these kids, obviously, but I'll bet you 95% of them didn't grow up with a father in the house, number one. Number two, on the other part of what you said about blaming white society, what happened after the Trayvon Martin case? You had Jackson, you had Sharpton, you had sanctimonious Tavis Smiley, all going on television talking about painting a fairy tale picture about how young black males are being hunted down by white people. But they went on doing that, and on this, they say nothing. Because, this is important, because it speaks to their failure as black leaders. They don't know what to do about this.
All right, Bernie, thanks very much. We appreciate it. Directly ahead, we'll have reaction.